Just as when you were thinking that this generation has run out of ideas to gain followers on TikTok, here they come again with their bright new ideas. That are almost as ingenious as the mugshot trend, where people put makeup on and pretended to have bruises in a sometimes sexy way, and then pretended to have their mugshots taken. But this one is much worse. In this trend, people are pretending to be Holocaust victims for some reason, and this trend has been dubbed trauma porn, which is as disturbing as it sounds. Armed with fake makeup bruises and scars, these TikTok creators have found a new way to propel their TikTok following to new heights without having a single consideration for topics such as anti-Semitism or the traumatic experiences that these people have gone through, and it needs to stop. So it's another thing spreading awareness about the Holocaust and actually educating yourself and others about the Holocaust, and it's another thing copying badly made 15-second videos just for clout. And believe me, these videos are just for clout. They are not meant to entertain or educate people. I don't know who created this trend, but I do know that people jump onto it because of publicity reasons. But I don't want to be one-sided. Get it? I changed sides. I don't want to be one-sided, so let's consider some of the arguments made as to why it is acceptable to reenact Holocaust scenes in TikTok videos. One of these TikTok creators told Insider.com that it is important to share their stories and that the reason she made them was to educate people. So you're saying that future lessons about Holocaust should look a little something like this. The problem with this argument is that it doesn't negate the fact that making TikTok videos about the Holocaust is at best insensitive. It is clear that there is an ulterior motive in creating these sketches, and that motive is clout. And it shouldn't be acceptable to reenact Holocaust scenes to get more followers and likes and so on social media. Educational videos on TikTok are abundant. And there are examples of educational videos where the tone is much more modest and appropriate to the situation. There is no need to recreate Holocaust scenes and bruises with makeup, because that ultimately is not only offensive to people who have lived through the Holocaust, but it has also been labeled as anti-Semitic and macabre by people on the internet. More disturbingly, some TikTok creators have used the yellow Star of David, which was worn by Jews under the Nazi regime, for identification, and it was devastating in its effects because it separated the Jews from the rest of the population and it made them a target for beatings and bullying by the Nazi regime. So the idea that someone wearing that star just recreates it without the appropriate knowledge and weight of the facts that are signified by the star is at best tone deaf. Ultimately, choosing to recreate a video on one of the worst moments of mankind's history just for entertainment purposes or for your 15 minutes of fame is disturbing. It definitely shows a lack of judgment from the creators, but again, kids will be kids and they will copy what they see on the internet. The problem is when adults fail to communicate to them the judgment needed to filter what they have and what they should reproduce or not. And again, for this trend to have become worldwide, because it's not just one or two videos out there, there are hundreds if not thousands of videos hashtagged Holocaust and heaven, shows that there is a great majority out there that are tone deaf to the situation. And I focus a lot on the motive of these people, which is the need to put out trendy videos in order to beat the algorithm and hopefully show up on pages where you gain more followers, because that's how TikTok works. If you jump on trends early, you are favored by the algorithm. But this is an unfortunate choice of trend to hop onto. I don't think anyone went Hey, putting on makeup and imitating an abused minority sounds fun. I think they probably said, hey, if I recreate this TikTok trend, I will gain more followers because I will be one of the first to do it. And that is where the wrong thinking and where the disturbing nature of this trend lies. It's in the inability to distinguish between the two trends. The US Holocaust Museum has come forth and it has said on the matter that this TikTok trend dishonors the victim's memory and it is disrespectful and macabre. Twitter was also lit up by people criticizing this trend. One person said that it's sad that this has become something people think is okay to practice their makeup and acting abilities with, which is apparent, as you saw from the videos, that some of these kids probably didn't have any idea what they were acting out, and they did a mediocre job of conveying any sort of information. Another person has said that this is anti-Semitism and that the Holocaust should stop being a trend on TikTok. And some of you might think, anti-Semitism, that's a stretch. It's not. How would black people feel if blackface had become a trend again? How would any minority feel if someone else took their struggles and the worst moments in history for them and recreated them just for clout? Personally, for me, the argument that this is to raise awareness and educate others doesn't stand for reasons that I have mentioned before. And I would like to see this trend being terminated. There are museums, there is the internet, there are plenty of resources for people who wish to be educated about Holocaust to go on to. I don't think there's any need to show us what bruised Jews might have looked like during concentration camps, or what imaginary conversations they had when they went on to heaven. Do you see how disturbing this is? It doesn't sound right. Just to clarify, I'm not saying that any of the previous kids are evil or that they have malicious intentions in their heart. But I do think that they are misguided, ill-informed, and that they need someone to instill better judgment and some sensitivity into them so that they can better judge for themselves should they find themselves against such a decision in the future. Also, the choice of song is by Bruno Mars, and it's about how good his girl is in bed. So that's even more disturbing. To anyone who's watched this far, thank you very much. Please hit the like button. I know you know what it looks like. Press it. Thank you very much. And consider subscribing because I am going to be uploading 3 times a week, reaction, educational, and commentary videos. And I would love to have you in my group.